Davis is just going to insist on being the starting catcher, go ahead and make him that. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. There are 16 days left until the season opener in Miami. And as I'm speaking with you, Yasmani Grandal, who was brought in, according to Ben Cherington, to be a guy on the major league roster. They don't go as far, neither Cherington nor Derek Shelton, as to call him the starting catcher. They just said he's going to be in the major leagues. He's not playing. He's been dealing with a foot injury, plantar fasciitis, and it's set him back for a couple of weeks now. He's had 3 total at-bats in grapefruit ball. Now, you can argue, well, he's a wily veteran and he's going to be able to just step up and take care of things, the instant that he feels good enough. But, you don't have to overcomplicate this. If you start him out on the IL, you've got a win-win for yourself, because the kid is really making a case for himself. Henry's now 7 for 24 in 9 grapefruit games. He's got 4 home runs out of those 7 hits. I'm going to repeat that for you. He's got 4 home runs out of those 7 hits, 9 RBIs, couple walks. He struck out 6 times. I actually, out of all of those, I'm least surprised by the home run total and most pleasantly surprised by the low strikeout total. No, they're not pitching you the way they would in a regular season game. They're not attacking you by the book. There's a little bit of research that goes into it, particularly for the starter on the opposing side, because they want to get into that habit as well, especially as spring training wears on. But for the most part, you're seeing generic pitches. You're seeing pitches for the sake of pitches. But he's destroying those pitches. And there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for doing things that other humans can't do. And trust me, on a couple of those Henry bombs, they've been things that other humans can't do. He's getting low in his stance, lower, you'll notice when you see him live, than he was last season. He almost has a Mark McGuire stance about him right now, where there's a really wide straddle. Jeff Bagwell might be another parallel that I could throw out there. Really wide and really down there. And he's using that to his advantage with a significant uppercut. He's letting the ball fly. And now, unlike his rookie season in the bigs, when he is making contact with it, it's going upward. He did have a focus over this winter on launch angle, and it's working for him in this part of the season. But that's where I come back to the whole performance and reward concept that you would really hope would be in play for anyone, let alone a number 1 overall pick, who rises above a little bit. And he's done that to date. Oh, and another thing, he's been pretty good behind the plate. Talk about a surprise. I'll bet it's a surprise to the people running the Pirates. They looked like they were terrified to put him back there. Over the entirety of the 2023 season, even at the end, when there was nothing to lose, there was no harm whatsoever if he'd gone out there and just butchered the position like we'd never seen it butchered before. They still wouldn't put him out there. 10-run lead, 9th inning. Still no Henry behind the plate. I'm not going to pretend to have Manny Sanguillen's eye for this sort of thing, but he's looked okay to me. He's seemed fine behind the plate. He's looked, boy, I don't want this to come across as a criticism, because I actually think it's kind of neat, but he's looked at times back there almost over-eager to get to the mound, where he wants to get out there and just say something to look like he's being very catchery. Do you know what I mean? But again, that's part of the growth process. That's what you want him to experience and to kind of get past it and to realize, hey, I really don't have to go out there every 3 seconds. So that's what I'm saying. You go into this season, you put Grandal on the IL. it can be a short stay. It doesn't matter. You don't have to fake anything. You just tell them, look, man, we just want you to heal up. That type of injury can really linger anyway, so you might not even have to invent it. But you do that, you send Henry and Jason DeLay as your catchers down to Miami, and you say, all right, good job, Henry, and everybody wins. Seems like a nice little compromise, right? I guess we'll see how it plays out. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern, that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Josh, who says, DK, what kills me most about all of this is that the Central Division's entirely up for grabs. One reliable, quality starter like a Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery could make all the difference. And, from there, if the Pirates aren't contending in July and whichever of these guys is on a one-year deal, they can trade him, cut their losses, maybe get a lottery ticket out of it. It's one freaking year. If they're that risk-averse, then they're in the wrong industry. Well, yeah. And you know what? If I had to come up with a single term that's more perfect than any other to apply specifically to Bob Nutting, it would be that. It wouldn't even be cheap. It wouldn't be non-competitive. And heaven knows I've used all of these. It would be risk-averse. I'm going to share this now. I've shared it before on this show, but for anybody who's come along in recent months, in all the time that Nutting has owned the Pirates, going back to when he took control of the franchise from Kevin McClatchy in 2007, he's had 3 playoff appearances. That's 2013 to 2015, of course. Those 3 years, I had this confirmed from the inside, were the Pirates' most profitable years in that tenure. Now, I'm choosing my words here carefully. I'm not stating the obvious that those would have been the 3 years in which they had the most revenue. I'm saying that they had the greatest profit. There's a difference. And despite that, despite seeing the reward that comes with winning, he sees the risk. He doesn't even fathom putting something in before it's in the hand. And that does not just apply, my friends, to the baseball operation. Everything I've learned about Bob over the years has been that that's how he manages all of his businesses. He's cautious to a freakish extent. And that's why you won't see this. I don't know whether Ben Cherington would just take a big pile of cash and go throw it in the direction of Snell or Montgomery. I don't know that. I don't know if that's in his DNA either. I can't know that. We haven't seen it. But I can and do know that this owner wouldn't do something like that. It would have to be put to him in a way that it was written somewhere in stone, in some sort of, what are those Lloyd's of London type insurance firms, that'll insure anything. They insure body parts of movie stars and stuff. They'll do anything. And if you just told them you're going to just insure Bob Nutting's nerves for the 2024 Major League Baseball season, and yeah, go ahead and pay out the money to Snell or Montgomery. But I don't disagree with a syllable of what you've got there, including about the Central, Josh. I really don't. I don't know that the Pirates would leap to the top of the favorites list. They're still the Pirates. You still wouldn't have people suggesting that they're some kind of contenders. Nobody took them even remotely seriously, even when they were 20-8 to open up last season. You'd have to see, a few months of really high caliber ball for anybody to imagine that this team would be on par with whoever, Brewers, Cardinals, whatever. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't be the case. One's perception, one might be reality, but not like this. Not like this. There's just too many crossed fingers in this rotation. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.